The Three Golden Nuts for Seniors, a doctor's tale of healing, hope, and the power of food. I've practiced medicine for over 30 years, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Food can be your greatest medicine or your slowest poison. And when it comes to the aging body, some of the smallest foods hold the biggest power. Today, I want to take you on a journey through 3 humble heroes of the nut world. These aren't just snacks. These are lifelines for your brain, your bones, and your blood. Let's begin with one that has become a legend in my office. One walnut's brain fuel in a shell. I still remember the day George walked into my clinic. "Doc," he said, rubbing his temples, "I can't remember the name of the street I lived on for 25 years. George was 72, a retired school principal, sharp as a tack, or at least he used to be. Over the months, he noticed himself becoming more forgetful. Misplaced keys, missed appointments, a creeping fog that wouldn't lift. After ruling out the serious stuff, I asked him a simple question. What does your breakfast look like? Toast and jam, he shrugged. Maybe some coffee. That day, I handed George a small bag of raw walnuts and told him, start with 7 every morning. Why walnuts? Because they're nature's brain food. They're rich in alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that fights inflammation and protects brain cells. Their high antioxidant content helps combat oxidative stress, a major contributor to age-related cognitive decline. What the science says. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed walnuts regularly performed better on cognitive tests than those who didn't. Another clinical trial showed improved memory and processing speed in seniors with mild cognitive impairment who added walnuts to their diets. But George didn't need a scientific journal. He needed results. And after just 3 months of his new morning routine, he told me something I'll never forget. I remembered my granddaughter's birthday and her favorite ice cream. Small win, not to George, not to any grandfather trying to hold onto his mind. Tips for enjoying walnuts: eat them raw for maximum benefit. Avoid honey-roasted or salted varieties. Combine with Greek yogurt or oatmeal for a brain-boosting breakfast. 2. Almonds, the all-in-one supernut. Meet Margaret. She came to me for her brittle nails, thinning hair, and aching joints. I feel like I'm drying up, she said with a tired laugh. Margaret was 68, recently retired, and struggling with low energy and declining bone density. Her doctor mentioned early signs of osteoporosis. She asked me if there was a pill that could help. I gave her something better: almonds. Almonds are like nature's multivitamin in a shell. Here's why I recommend them to nearly every patient over 60. Vitamin E, an antioxidant that helps maintain skin elasticity and moisture, keeping your skin supple as you age. Calcium and magnesium, critical for bone density. These 2 minerals work together to prevent fractures and support healthy muscle contractions. Healthy fats and protein. Keep you full, help regulate blood sugar, and support heart health. Margaret started carrying a small pouch of almonds in her purse. Just 10 to 12 raw nuts a day. 3 months later, her bone scan came back stable. Her hair had more luster, her energy was back. But what touched me most was when she said, I feel nourished again, like my body isn't giving up on me. How to add almonds to your day. Toss them into a salad with spinach and citrus. Use unsweetened almond butter as a spread. Blend into smoothies for a creamy texture. A word of caution, choose raw or dry roasted almonds. Avoid ones coated in sugar or flavored with artificial ingredients. 3 pistachios, a diabetic's best friend. Now let's talk about Daniel. Daniel was 65, overweight, and recently diagnosed with prediabetes. He was frightened, not just about the diagnosis, but about the idea of lifelong medications. He said, I want to beat this without pills, doc. What can I eat that won't mess up my sugar? Pistachios were my answer. Unlike many snacks that spike blood sugar, pistachios have a low glycemic index, meaning they digest slowly and help keep blood sugar stable. They also contain plant protein, fiber, and antioxidants that support heart health and reduce inflammation. A 2014 study published in Diabetes Care found that people who ate pistachios daily experienced improved insulin sensitivity and lower fasting blood sugar. Daniel swapped his daily cookie habit for a small bowl of shelled pistachios. After 6 weeks, his A1C dropped by nearly half a point. After 3 months, he was no longer in the pre-diabetic range. And he did it without a single prescription. Doc, he said with a grin, I never thought a nut could help me beat sugar. Smart ways to eat pistachios. Enjoy 1 to 2 ounces, about a handful per day. Use shelled pistachios to avoid overeating. Add to Greek salads or sprinkle on roasted vegetables. Avoid flavored pistachios loaded with salt or sugar. Go for raw or dry roasted, unsalted. Final word on the golden nuts. These 3 nuts aren't trendy. They're timeless. They don't just fill you up, they build you up. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, your body is still listening to every bite you take. So speak kindly to it. Feed it with foods that fight inflammation, restore memory, and strengthen bones. George, Margaret, and Daniel didn't find magic in a medicine bottle. They found it in a handful of nuts. And you can too. So the next time you reach for a snack, don't just think about taste. Think about tomorrow. Think about the life you want to keep living. And remember, the smallest things can make the biggest difference. Stay tuned, because in the next part of this series, I'll reveal the 3 nuts you need to avoid, no matter how healthy they seem. Opening scene, a thought-provoking beginning. You'd think all nuts are healthy, right? After all, they're from nature, they're packed with nutrients, and they taste great. But what if I told you there are 3 specific types of nuts that might be silently sabotaging your health, especially if you're over 60? That snack you enjoy with your afternoon tea, that handful you munch on while watching the evening news, it might just be working against you. Today, we're uncovering the truth behind the 3 nuts seniors should be cautious of. And trust me, you'll want to hear the stories I've got to share. Section 1, Cashews, the sneaky sweetheart. Cashews, smooth, buttery, almost sweet. They seem innocent enough. But beneath that creamy texture lies a profile that can pose trouble for aging bodies. Cashews contain a high amount of oxalates, compounds that may increase the risk of kidney stones. Now, if you've ever had a kidney stone, you know it's not something you'd wish on anyone. Sharp, stabbing pain, sometimes compared to childbirth or a knife twisting in your back. Let me tell you about Linda. She's a 72-year-old grandmother from Florida. Lively, energetic, and always experimenting with healthy snacks. When she switched from chips to a daily handful of cashews, she thought she was doing something great for her heart. And sure, cashews do contain healthy fats, but just a few months later, Linda found herself in the ER with unbearable pain. The culprit, a kidney stone. Her doctor traced it back to the high oxalate load from her daily cashew habit. Besides oxalates, cashews are high in carbohydrates. That's a concern for seniors managing blood sugar. Their carb content can cause sudden spikes, especially when eaten in large portions or in flavored varieties. Also, let's not forget calories. Cashews are calorie-dense. It's easy to overeat them because of their addictive taste. 1 handful becomes 2, 2 become 3, and suddenly you're consuming 500+ calories without even noticing. Moral of the story, cashews are fine occasionally, but if you've got kidney issues, blood sugar concerns, or you're watching your weight, be cautious. Section 2, Macadamia nuts, the rich cousin with little to offer. There's something luxurious about macadamia nuts. Maybe it's their creamy taste, or maybe it's their association with fancy cookies and Hawaiian treats. But for seniors, these nuts might not be worth the indulgence. Roughly 75% of their calories come from fat. Now, not all fats are bad, and macadamia fats are mostly monounsaturated, the kind associated with heart benefits. But here's the problem. They're incredibly low in protein and fiber. Let me introduce you to Charles. A retired school principal in Oregon, 68 years old, always conscious of his cholesterol and weight. He used to enjoy a mix of macadamias every night with a glass of wine. Over time, he noticed his pants fitting tighter and his blood work showing a slight rise in LDL cholesterol. Charles couldn't understand it. He was eating healthy nuts. But once his dietitian broke down the nutritional profile, it became clear. Macadamia nuts weren't offering satiety or significant nutrients. Just empty, albeit delicious, calories. For someone like Charles, who needed to manage his weight and prioritize protein, macadamias were a misstep. What's more, they can be deceptively addictive. Since they're low in fiber and protein, they don't keep you full. It's easy to eat too many. The takeaway, if you're looking for nutrient-rich bang for your buck, macadamias fall short. They're more of a treat than a staple. Section 3. Flavored and candied nuts, the silent saboteurs. Now let's talk about perhaps the most dangerous category. Flavored and candied nuts. Whether it's honey-roasted almonds, chocolate-covered peanuts, or barbecue-spiced pecans, these might be the worst offenders, and they're not always easy to resist. These nuts are often loaded with added sugars, sodium, and unhealthy fats. That handful of honey-roasted peanuts may seem small, but it can have up to 8 grams of added sugar and 200 plus milligrams of sodium. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 75-year-old former nurse living in Arizona. She loved sweet snacks but had cut back on cookies and candy. Instead, she turned to a healthier option, cinnamon-glazed almonds. She'd have a little bowl every evening with tea, proud of her switch. But her blood pressure started climbing, her joints ached more, and she felt more tired. A closer look revealed the sugar and sodium content of her nightly treat. What's more, these nuts often contain unhealthy oils or preservatives. Some are roasted in hydrogenated oils that can contribute to inflammation, a key driver in arthritis, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. Even when labeled natural, many still sneak in added flavors and chemicals. In short, flavored and candied nuts are like wolves in sheep's clothing. They appear healthy but can sabotage blood pressure, blood sugar, joint health, and more. How to spot the troublemakers? Reading the label. Let's be honest, food labels are confusing. But when it comes to nuts, a few red flags can help you steer clear of harmful varieties. Added sugar. Anything ending in "-ose" like sucrose or dextrose. Hydrogenated oils, a sign of trans fats. Artificial flavors or colors best avoided. High sodium, over 140 mg per serving, isn't ideal for most seniors. Always choose nuts where the ingredient list is just nuts. Maybe a touch of sea salt, that's it. A better way forward, smart nut choices for seniors. So what can you do? The good news is you don't have to give up nuts. In fact, nuts can be a powerful part of a senior's diet when chosen wisely. Stick to natural, unsalted varieties. Focus on portion control, a small handful a day, and rotate your nut choices to get a variety of nutrients. Examples to try instead: raw or dry roasted almonds, unsalted walnuts, lightly roasted pistachios. These offer balanced nutrition, healthy fats, fiber, protein, and antioxidants, without the added junk. Conclusion, the final word from the heart. I've seen it in my practice, and I've seen it in my own family. Small dietary changes can make a world of difference. When we're older, our bodies don't forgive dietary slip-ups the way they used to. Choosing the right foods becomes a form of self-care, almost like medicine. So next time you reach for that nut jar, take a moment. Think of Linda, Charles, and Margaret. Think of your kidneys, your heart, your joints. Make the wiser choice, not because you have to, but because you deserve to feel your best. Because food at this stage in life is no longer just about pleasure. It's about empowerment, and every bite counts. Smart nut habits for seniors. Opening hook, the small habit that changed everything. It was a quiet Thursday morning when Harold, a 74-year-old retired firefighter from Ohio, sat down with his wife, Carol, for their usual breakfast. But this time, something was different. Instead of his usual buttered toast and black coffee, Harold reached for a small bowl of unsalted almonds. "What's this?" Carol teased, raising an eyebrow. "Doctor's orders," Harold replied with a smile. "He said I should swap the toast for nuts. Said it might just help this old ticker of mine." What Harold didn't realize then was that this simple habit, just a handful of the right nuts each day, would quietly reshape his health and vitality over the months to come. Part 1. Why nut habits matter more as we age. As a doctor who spent more than 4 decades walking alongside seniors on their health journeys, I can tell you this. The small things you do every day, what you eat, how you move when you rest, matter more than you think. And when it comes to diet, nuts are one of the most overlooked treasures. But there's a catch. Not all nuts are created equal. And not all nut habits are smart habits, especially after the age of 60. Here's why nut habits matter so much. Aging changes your nutritional needs. As we age, our bodies need fewer calories but more nutrients per bite. Nuts are densely packed with healthy fats, protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Exactly the kind of high-impact food seniors need. Muscle and bone preservation. Protein and magnesium in nuts can help fight off sarcopenia, muscle loss, and osteoporosis, 2 silent challenges that creep in as we grow older. Inflammation and chronic illness. Many nuts contain antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that help combat chronic diseases like arthritis, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. Blood sugar and heart health. Properly portioned nuts, especially those with low glycemic impact like pistachios and walnuts, help stabilize blood sugar and support heart function. The key isn't just which nuts you eat, but how you eat them and how much. Part 2. Stories from the Golden Generation. Let me share with you some real-life stories from patients and friends who embraced smart nut habits and saw remarkable results. George from Minnesota. The walnut routine. George, 82, was having more and more senior moments, as he called them, forgetting where he left his keys, missing birthdays. His daughter, a nurse practitioner, suggested he start adding walnuts to his morning oatmeal. It seemed silly at first, he told me. But after a few months, I started noticing I could recall names more quickly, and my doctor said my cholesterol numbers looked better, too. Walnuts, rich in omega-3s, are known for supporting brain function and reducing inflammation. George made it a habit to have a handful every morning. Margaret's almond skin secret. Margaret, 76, from Arizona, had always taken pride in her youthful glow. But dry skin and brittle nails had crept in with age. She started keeping a mason jar of raw almonds on her kitchen counter. "Now I grab a few with my tea every afternoon," she said. "My nails stopped splitting, and my skin feels less like parchment and more like, well, me again." Vitamin E in almonds helps protect skin cells and supports collagen production, a hidden benefit for aging skin. Daniel and the pistachio problem solver. Daniel, a 69-year-old former accountant, struggled with type 2 diabetes. "I was snacking on crackers and cookies before dinner. My blood sugar was all over the place," he admitted. We swapped his evening snack for a small bowl of pistachios. Not only did his blood sugar stabilize, but he also started losing weight. "I feel lighter," he told me, "not just physically but mentally too. Like I'm finally taking control." Part 3, crafting your smart nut routine. If you're ready to join Harold, George, Margaret, and Daniel in building your own smart nut habits, here's how to do it wisely. 1. Choose wisely. Opt for raw or dry roasted nuts without added salt, sugar, or flavorings. Natural is always best. Focus on walnuts for brain and heart, almonds for bones, skin, and cholesterol, pistachios for blood sugar and weight control, pecans rich in antioxidants, Brazil nuts, 1 per day is enough to boost selenium. Avoid or limit. Cashews high in oxalates, bad for kidneys. Macadamias high-fat, low-fiber. Flavored candied nuts, full of sugar and sodium. 2 portion with purpose. A handful is all you need, about 1 ounce or 28 grams. 14 walnut halves. 24 almonds. 49 pistachios. Keep a small container handy instead of eating from the bag. Overeating nuts can sneak in calories fast. 3. Pair with purpose. Nuts work best when paired with other foods. Add almonds to yogurt or oatmeal. Toss pistachios into salads. Blend walnuts into smoothies. This improves absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and adds satisfying texture and flavor. 4. Time it right. For some, nuts are best in the morning to fuel the day. For others, a small evening snack helps prevent late-night sugar cravings. Experiment and see what fits your routine. Part 4. Common pitfalls to avoid. I thought all nuts were healthy. Many seniors fall into the trap of eating honey-roasted peanuts or chocolate-covered almonds, thinking they're just as good. They're not. Added sugars and unhealthy oils can cancel out the benefits. I eat nuts instead of meals. Nuts are a supplement, not a replacement. You still need balanced meals with vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. I can't afford fancy nuts. You don't need to buy organic macadamias from a boutique store. Look for sales on bulk almonds or walnuts. Even small amounts make a difference. Part 5. Making it personal. Your health story is unique, so your nut habits should be too. If you have kidney issues, limit cashews and peanuts. If you're on blood thinners, be mindful of vitamin K in pistachios and other green nuts. Allergies. Try seeds like sunflower or pumpkin for similar benefits. And always consult your doctor before making major dietary changes. Closing thought. Tiny habits, big results. Harold didn't think much of that first almond breakfast. George just wanted to remember his daughter's birthday. Margaret was tired of dry skin. Daniel was desperate to feel in control again. But each of them took a small, consistent step. And day by day, it changed their lives. So I invite you, dear viewer, to join them. Grab a handful of your favorite heart-smart, brain-boosting, age-defying nuts. Make it a habit, make it yours, and watch what happens next. Your golden years deserve nothing less. Final thoughts, my take, and now I want to hear yours. After spending decades helping folks just like you navigate the ups and downs of aging, I can tell you this. It's the small, daily choices that